Hey guys, Mike here, JetTech. So today we're going to be fitting a Lowrance sounder to the brand new 22 Yamaha FX. Now I will just put a disclaimer out there, this is my first time fitting a sounder to a ski, but I have asked a couple of friends that are jet ski mechanics if they got any tips and tricks. Also, if anyone else has any better suggestions from what we've figured out is going to be the best way to install one, feel free to drop a comment down below. But let's get into it. I got my Lowrance Elite 9. You kind of want to go for either a 7 or a 9 on a ski. Don't go for a 12 because the skis bounce around a fair bit and it kind of becomes a lot of weight on the ram mounts. So I've gone with a 9, so it's still nice and visible. We've got a basic block here of nylon plastic. The reason we're doing this is because we're going to screw our ram mount to it. This block here is going to go in the cup holder and then the ram mount's going to go on top. If I don't have the block, you can see the ram mount's is too low and I'm not going to be able to get it in and out. So I'm going to drill a hole right through this and we're going to use, I think it's an M5 or 6. They've already got a thread in the cup holders here. You're going to have a look in there, Aaron. So hole right through this, screw it into there, and then on your ram mounts, they've also, if you use a button head Allen key bolt, that's how the clearance for the bolt with this, or you can countersink it into your plastic spacer. And I'll just screw that straight in. So that's how that's going to mount, and then the sounder onto the top of that. So our little custom plate that we've made, we did just whip this in alloy to check if it's all going to be the right angles, and we'll change it to stainless after so it doesn't have a reaction with the stainless here. But we'll that's going to go in between there, and then our transducer is going to bolt to that. And that's how we're mounting this. That's going to be the best way. Now, this is the tricky part which we've been trying to figure out, which is the best way to run your transducer wiring into the hull. And there's no easy solution for this, so it's going to be the classic way in which a lot of people do within the industry and boats. We're going to have to drill a hole straight through here. It's going to be big enough for your plug to go through, and then we're going to cap it off with this. But we're going to jam a whole bunch of sticker in there so it kind of seals it up. Cap it off of that. We're going to then glue on the inside and seal it up from the inside as well. And we should be good to go. Unfortunately, that's the best way we can come up with. There's no other pre-existing holes here that you can use. I did have an idea of being able to maybe go up through the water spout here and coming up and over, but then it's just on your transom and you got a wiring loom sitting on transom, which is not going to be ideal. Run the wiring through your ski as you'll see soon. Pretty simple. It'll come up outside the cup holder where it will plug straight into the screen, and then we just got our power wires which go straight back to the battery. This doesn't draw current out of the battery in your sounder as long as it's off, so you don't have to worry about that. Alright, let's dive in and see how we go. Alright, so I've just put on the bracket and behind the step ladder here. Now what I'm doing, I'm just trying to line up the transducer. Now I do a lot of beach launching, and if you do too, you want to make sure it's not sitting low, that this is going to be dragging on the sand. So you want it, but you can't have it too high that it's getting interference and not reading properly. So you can see this plate's actually we've made this wider, so if we don't get it right, we can, if we put it in we're going to start in the middle, which looks just at clearance for when the ski is beached, but don't forget it's not beached in there. Your ski's going to be on an angle like that. So between there to there, if it's sitting on that, I don't want this touching. Obviously you don't have your transducer super tight, so if it does hit the sand or get knocked or something, it can lift up. That's why they have little rubber grommets here and teeth. But I'm going to literally just start right in the middle there. And I'll drill that. You can see this has got slots as well, so this can slide up and down. If I just drill right in the middle here, we should be good. And when I go out, I will be able to test it. It's good to put the plate on first as well, so you can kind of see where you need to be at. Drilling with on the ski, make sure you don't press too hard and go into your ski. Also, you can see the bracket here for the bolts. It's just two 12 mils here and it comes right out. I'm going to take off the plastic piece here that holds the seat in because it makes it way easier to get your arm all the way at the back. I'm going to inspect where I'm going to drill first before drilling for the hole for the sounder, and then also when I'm sealing it up as well. I can get in there much easier. And boop, off it comes. But you can see how much more access I get in there now. So now I can actually get my arm. Still not even in the back. What I'm doing, where the step ladder is, I can see the backing plate for the step ladder, and I'm just gonna go. I can see I've got a maximum 100 mil distance before the bottom half of the helm is stuck to the top half, and I don't, obviously you don't want to be drilling anywhere near that because you've got curvature of fiberglass too, so you might think you're near the top, but there could be a big curve on the inside there which is going to stop you getting through nice and cleanly. So I'm going to go 50 mil above that plate and I should be sweet. So you can see right back there, if you can, there's that plate I'm referring to right there. 50 mil still gives me a bit of clearance. I just want to make sure I can actually drill everything in there quite well. I want my wiring loom to go directly up there too, I reckon. So it goes directly up, it's not going to interfere with anything. My drill's going to want to be able to drill pretty much straight there, 40 mil. That's where I'm going to go. And on the inside there, it's not going to drill into anything. With these new skis, you don't run the straps across anymore because they hit the reverse buckets with the previous model, so you actually run 2 straps. I'm just making sure that I should be able to get the straps all through it, so it won't interfere with my wiring at all. Alright, hole in a ski. So annoying that I don't actually make like a smaller plug for feeding wiring. I know Garmin's do. Lowrance, if you're watching this, can you please make a smaller plug? So I'm just going to go to the next step up. I'm going to go to like a 8 mil drill piece this time, and then I'll work up to 13 to get that plug through. I've got a 13 mil drill piece. This is not even big enough to get in there. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe cutting these wires and trying to re-splice them is a great idea for a transducer. Alright, so I finished drilling my hole. I think we end up at about 16 mil there. So now it's time to feed the wiring through. Push this in, I only just squeezed it. In she goes. So I'll feed that through, and then I got my horse cap here which will make it look a lot tidier. So I'm going to secure all that up, seal it up, put a bunch of silicone, put that on. I'll jam more silicone up in there. Then I've been to the bolt shop. I got some bolts there for the transducer that will slide in there. Also got a big long M6 here. I've drilled my hole in my spacer. I've got my spacer in there. Bolt this in there, and it will go right through into the thread that's already in the Yamaha cup holder. They've already put a big hole in the slot here too, so I can feed my wiring through. I gotta get some more wiring for the battery that didn't supply it. How I'm doing this, bolt through here, then on the ram, they cut out, so I went and got a button head Allen key bolt that sits nicely in there. Sorry, in there. I got bolts for the Lowrance bracket in there as well to bolt that through, and then I'm just gonna screw this in. Make sure you use all stainless stuff, and I've got some 40 mil screws there, 4 of them that will screw into this as well, and that's gonna be the setup. It's kind of actually pretty straightforward really, but it's figuring out how to do all this. There's no real information out there on fitting transducers and sounders to skis, but hopefully this will help a few people. I drilled a 6 mil hole here for this bolt, but see I'm still threading it through. I kind of did that on purpose because I want absolutely no movement in this block because it's the base. If there's a bit of movement in there's going to be a fair bit more on your screen bouncing around, and just because I know how bumpy it is on the ski already, we want this to be nice and tight. So just to get the wiring through there, I'm going to go through the steering column. There'll be a slot or a boot in there. So I'm just taking off this side panel. To pull this side panel off, you've got 1 bolt here, 1 bolt here, 1, 2, 3, 4 on this bit, and 2 up in the front, and then this panel just slides. I'll take that out. Panel carefully should slide back, forward. There we go, got that out. Now I can run the wiring through this boot here, so I'll cut this cable tie, put the plugs through that, and then there's the hole into the cup holder. Should be all nice and tidy that way. I could just reach it. If you've got long arms, you'll probably get this. There we go. Oh no, I got it. Might be wondering what all this turf is on the side. It's because we predominantly surf for ski, so turf them all up so they protect our boards. They also really good for fishing off the side if you have your feet up on there. There we go. Can't remember if I said it before, but this is 70 in diameter and 50 height. You pretty much want to be at least 50, but your diameter could be 60 if it needed to be, but we just already had that. And it's still got clearance of 70 for the wiring. And then my wiring, when I'm not using the sounder, will just sit in there. It's I'm just bolting the transducer on now and line it up so it's not gonna have interference break off. Right, there's perfect. Nylox nuts, washers on the back so it doesn't come off. Just another thing as well, you want to make sure, I'll do this up tight, but if this kicks up it's going to pull back the cable and you don't want it to be pulling through the silicone, so you might want to make sure you just got like a little bit of excess like play in it there. That's why I went a little bit left as well, so it's kind of away from the eyelet from hooking shit in it. I don't ever catch that. Just make sure you have a little bit of excess there so it never pulls through the silicone. So I've kicked up the transducer here, drawing more cable. Now I'm putting the horseshoe, lining that up so for when I silicone this all up for the screws. So you need to do a couple pilot holes. So I've just put this here just to mark it, get them started, but so my holes are quite perfect, like that. Now I can see, I'll drill through, and then it will be ready once it's all seeked up. You want to line that all up first, so when the seeker, you're not interfering with it, trying to line it all up. You can just screw it straight on. Screw these through. That'll be enough to guide my screws through here. Just use a 2mm piece there. So I've just got Selly's Flexi Seal multi-purpose sealant. I just got it on white. I chuck gloves on because the stuff gets real messy and I hate it sticking to my hands. But I can use my fingers now just to smooth all the areas. I'm up underneath here. By the way, it's the first time I've done this, guys. Please don't judge me. Sealing a hole to put the transducer in. That looks pretty sealed. I'm gonna go from the inside too, so I'll just start the outside here. A little bit more. And it's gonna look a little bit messy here. Sweet, that's good. Clean this off. And some underneath there, okay. Oh, it's everywhere. I'll just get a rag and I'll tidy that all up. Oh, I can't get my arm back. Oh, I just want to put it up around that. What do I need? I need like, the end of that broom handle, man. My arm's like 200mm short. So just so I can reach the back, I'll just found a bit of pipe, chuck some tape over the end of it. And that way I can get in it. So I'm just using my fingers to kind of push it in and seal it around this hose part here. And I'll tidy this all up. I probably actually, now that I think about it, I should have used a bit of masking tape around here. I could have pulled it all off and it would have been perfectly clean after, but just a bit of brake clean here. Up, sorted now. Continue wiring everything. Leave that, I'm gonna leave the transducer kicked up. I don't want to touch that wiring till that silicone's all hardened, so I'll leave that now for the next 12 hours for that to cure. It's sealed up from the inside too, so as you saw before, I played with the pipe on the inside to kind of jam it up around the cable, and we should be good to go. So I just got some extra wiring for our power wires to the battery. Doing crimps here in the middle. They're very important though. Get some marine heat shrink. It's usually dual wool with a bit of sealant on the inside. I'll slide that over, seal all that up. Same on this end, and then I'll chuck the fuse in there, and then our little battery terminals as well. So I can screw it straight on. Alright guys, we're back again. We had a bit of a camera difficulty, so it's actually been a month and I did finish the job. However, this is my sounder. There's my RAM mount that I installed. There's my two wires. So I've got my power feed and I've also got my transducer feed. So sounder goes straight on with the RAM mount with my spacer in there. It's such a good feature being able to have this. And hey, this is pretty stable. I actually usually go like this to the side a bit, and guys, like, this is sturdy, like it barely moves. Like if I had a massive chop, it can slightly move, but I tell you what, having the feature of being able to remove it is super practical for my use of skis, because I'm not just fishing on my ski, I surf with my ski in kind of heavy water scenarios and just use it for daily riding, so I don't always need this on. My two wires plug in the back, that's pretty self-explanatory. So with the wiring, guys, it's fed through the back here, which you can see in those earlier clips. Now I've got my power wire here. I actually had to extend this wire to reach all the way to the front there, so that's why I was heat shrinking and etc. So I run these through the side of my ski, and I actually cable tie it to the other wiring harness there for the factory wires. So you want to do that just so they're not like loose around, so you can kind of see I've just factored it onto the conduit there and up the front there as well. Now my power wire goes all the way back to my battery terminals, and then my transducer just continues all the way back to the transducer. I got my little fuse in there as well. Super easy to connect to the battery terminal. It's obviously just two 10mm or a Phillips screwdriver. Most sounders will come with a basic wiring diagram as well, so it's pretty hard to mess it up. So I've been finding this has been working great for me. There may be better ways, but this works fantastic. I have had a few good sessions out on it now. My transducer position is perfect. I don't get any interference. I just obviously can't be on the plane, but that's normal. So I kind of just got to be like kind of around that 6 knots and I get a perfect reading. Perfect size screen. I think, what did I have on here? It was a 7, I think. Yeah, 7. So not a 9. Correction from the start of the video. And yeah, my transducer's perfect. So yeah, if you got any questions, drop a comment below and one of the boys or the team member or myself will get back to you. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe and keep up with the latest tutorials and tips and tricks we got for you. Till next time.